This particular song, Living in a Bubble, we are all living in a bubble, just took on a larger than life theme for us. We were actually at rehearsal one night jamming, and Ryan started to play a riff that he was trying to turn into a new song. And John, our bass player, started to kind of vibe with the track and with the song actually, and started to sing "We're All Living in a Bubble." And so we kind of kept that particular chorus for a while. And one night I started to write to it, following in that mindset of where John was trying to take the song from a chorus aspect.
I think the creation of Bubble was just so random. So Ryan was in a practice and he was just playing the chords to Bubble. And then the drummer kind of just came in and John looked at Kanika and I and he said, sing, "We're all just living in a bubble." And we're like, "What?" He's like, "Just sing it." And so we sang it. And then he said, "That's what we need. That is what the world needs. Everybody's being so selfish and we're just living in a bubble." And it's so crazy that now that we're releasing Bubble, that look at what has happened. This came before COVID-19. This came before we really started seeing how we're so separated and divided. So I think this is a wonderful time for Bubble to be displayed to the world.
We're all living in these various different bubbles. Everybody has their own bubble that they've placed themselves in. And unfortunately, when we live secluded in these bubbles, it keeps us from being able to see the world in a bigger and more dynamic way. It prevents us from sometimes stepping out and learning, or being willing really to meet other people and really share and learn and just experience life in a whole new dimension. And so just given all that was going on, and this was before COVID-19, this is before George Floyd, but we've always had those types of issues hanging in the background. The first lines to the first verse came to me. Everybody's in their own world, only caring about themselves. And we don't see that we've become a fucked up society. It's all about me because we're living in a bubble. And so the goal for the song was not to put too many lyrics. It was really to allow for the power of the words to sink in so that people could really experience it from the context that we were trying to really go for. And because of the chords of the guitar and the horns, it was such a pretty melody. We wanted to make sure that the song could breathe enough so that people could just enjoy the groove of the song, so that again the message could really ring loud and clear. So that's it. That's Bubble, and can't wait for you to take a look at the lyric video and really just pay attention to the lyrics.
We're living in a world that's become so divided. Everyone is just so consumed with themselves. It's like no one cares anymore about anybody else. It's what I call living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble, living
So you may be wondering how the Fishbone Upstarters collaboration got kicked off, and I would say it had to have started back in the year 2000. I was a Fishbone fan since middle schooler. I used to go to concerts with my dad and friends. We got to meet the band a few times. I remember meeting Angelo, and he was just real great, real inspirational. He took the time to like talk with us, take pictures. I brought a blank shirt. Actually, I was wearing a red shirt, and I didn't have anything for him to sign, so I asked him if he could sign the shirt, and he not only signed it, but he drew this whole Fishbone logo. It took him like 20 minutes. He just sat there talking, drawing this Fishbone logo on the shirt, and got Norwood to sign it, and really great memories. So ever since those moments, I really wanted to one day work with Fishbone or just share the same stage. But I had no idea that I'd get to actually work on the same song as Angelo or really anyone in the band. So this is a huge step for me personally, but also it's a milestone for the band as well. So like 10 years later, I start going to these jam sessions in DC hosted by members of the Scotch Bonnets. And going to those jam sessions, I got to meet HR Bad Brains, Skeeter from Scream, and eventually Angelo from Fishbone. And got to jam on some of Angelo's songs. So it was like my first time kind of meeting him outside of just being like strictly just some kid at a concert. So not too long after all that, a friend of mine, Joe Keys, the one and only, put together a band, and a lot of my friends were in this band, and occasionally I'd fill in on bass. And it turns out that Joe Keys and Fishbone go way back to like Fishbone's like, garage days, just starting out. So Joe knew them from nearly their inception, as far as I can tell. Joe and Angelo formed this collaboration called the Late Bloomer, the Dr. Mad Vibe Late Bloomer Experience. It's a mouthful. On bass, I developed a reputation for genre surfing and having a deep pocket, which is really what the Late Bloomer Dr. Mad Vibe project needed. You go from slap bass to like, hardcore punk in like a verse to a chorus. The transitions were like that intense, and they were frequent. This happened like every song. So Joe thought of me for that, and he knows I'm a huge Fishbone fan. So I guess he gave me the chance to be in the Dr. Mad Vibe Late Bloomer Experience.
This post-apocalyptic PMU good dirty. Palm smuggle looking and bull snatch preacher. Head trigger pulling, red button pushing. Babylon sabotage. All the laws are changed, they got nothing to do with you. Being head saving your anti-baggers, being people who once won't be able to hurt or loser. Why don't know? I ain't choosing either one. Cause they
Playing bass in the Dr. Mad Vibe Late Bloomer Experience is what put me in the position to even ask Angelo to do this song with me. So I definitely have to thank Joe Keys for that initial opportunity. But those gigs weren't easy, and the opportunity to build a relationship with Angelo and eventually pitch this song to him, was definitely well earned. We'd have, like with Angelo, we'd have a set of music ready to go, good, we're ready to perform, and then like a couple days before the show, he would change like 60-70% of the set, like all new songs. So we'd be like rehearsing all through the night, and we live on opposite sides of the country, so there wasn't a ton of rehearsal. So we would just kind of meet once, rehearse for like 6 hours from like midnight to like daylight pretty much, and then play the gig like the next day.
Oh, give me some on that. We did that, motherfucker. We was in the basement learning that, son of a bitch.
So while Angelo was a chaotic band leader, it showed that he had a lot of trust in us, and it also showed how bold he is musically, kind of fearless to do something like that.
You will be what the boss man say, so that you can get a raise and pay. But you don't believe in what you say. I see a yes man is a little less every day. A yes man and a yes woman, no. Don't get a hip on your flow. Sing deep into your soul. There's a lady in a prison with super club. Boss man with a big bug. Sit or get out of the line. Keep the ghetto jumping high. Sit up out in the side. Say yeah, I'm witnessing the sober line. We'll make it short for the time, so we can see right through the lies of our good eyes.
After playing a bunch of gigs supporting Angelo as his bass player, I thought it might be cool to have him join a project of mine. So I pitched him Bubble. We had a few FaceTime conversations. He seemed to really like the song. So he not only did a hook, or joined in on the hook, but he did his own original verse and even participated in the music video. And we couldn't be happier to have him. And really happy, couldn't be more happy with the way that the song turned out in general. So here is Bubble featuring Angelo Moore of Fishbone. Definitely pre-save it, and that would mean the world to us.
Living in a bubble.
You know, we're living in a world that's become so divided. You know, everyone is so consumed with themselves. It's like no one cares anymore about anybody else. It's what I call living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble, living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble, living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble, living in a bubble. We're all just we're living in a bubble. See, everybody's in their own world. Only care about themselves, all about themselves. And we don't see we becoming all about me. Fuck you, society. 'Cause we're living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble. We're living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble. We're living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble. Living in a bubble. We're all just we're living in a bubble. You know, I realized that we're bigger than the bubbles that we put ourselves in. If we can just step out and learn how to appreciate each other and love each other, because you know what? Some days it feels like people just don't care. Trapped in a world of hate, greed, and fear. We don't see we've become an emotionally selfish society. 'Cause we're living in a bubble.
Yes, we're living in a bubble, surrounded by trouble. Love in the bubble, but outside there's a double up of hate, fear, madness, and wrong. Where did it come from, people, and for how long? Will it stay, stick around, and turn everybody down? So defend and protect yourself. And those trapped outside the bubble, they need your help. Outside your bubble. All just living in a bubble, living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble, living in a bubble. We're all just living
So this September is full circle for the Upstarters. So our very first show at the Audubon was opening up for the Slackers. And how fitting that this September we are releasing a remix by the guitarist Jay Agent of the Upstarters.
You called him J Agent.
I know.
J Agent.
This September, we're performing once again. We're opening up for them, but now we have a remix of Bubble that was done by the guitarist Agent J of the Slackers. So it's like, how good can it get when someone sees you and they see your art, and then they even want to just help you to promote it even bigger. Once again, we're so excited, and we're going to give you a sneak peek of the song, as well as you're going to see the process of Agent J and kind of what he does with his remixes. And so I really hope that once again you go to Spotify, you download it, listen to the songs, like us on Upstarters, Instagram, Facebook, and please let us know how you feel, because we just love, we love that you love our music. So thank you, and take it away, Agent J.
Okay, I am Jay. Some people call me Agent J. And I am doing a dub remix for the Upstarters. And I'm doing a tune called Bubble that they sent me the tracks for. And I have it running through my various things over here that I'll show you. And we're sending it to a few other things like this Space Echo tape machine, and to this Echo and this high pass filter. And it's going through some of the things over here. There's a reverb and all kinds of things going on. So I'm going to start the track and just show you guys what's happening here a little bit.
Living in a bubble.
You know, the one thing that I really love about the Upstarters is that we're not too shy to take on very big topics and themes that really straddle social consciousness. You know, some artists don't want to do that because it's not pretty, right? And so I love that a lot of our songs really have that undercurrent of bringing into our musical conversation, things that will make you kind of think. So we had the opportunity to perform at the Journey Home benefit concert. And so for those of you who do not live in Baltimore, Maryland, Journey Home is an organization that really focuses on bringing awareness to homelessness. Just like many cities across the U.S., there's a large number of people who are homeless in Baltimore, and especially after the pandemic. And so each year they do a special benefit concert, and we had the chance to actually perform with them maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And we were able to break a Guinness Book of World Records at the most people in one space breaking bread together.
And I think it was so great to do because everybody thinks of Baltimore as just crime and we can't stick together and just so violent. And it was a beautiful day in Baltimore. It was a beautiful summer day where we all got together and decided we were going to make change for Baltimore. So I was really excited that they asked us to come back.
And so, given the pandemic, every artist, every person was stuck in that bubble. And so to be asked to, hey, come out and perform in a virtual concert, benefit concert, we were really excited to get that opportunity. So this gave us a chance to actually expand our repertoire. We were always trying to do an acoustic performance. And so we had a chance to do an acoustic performance that was taped extremely well. A shout out to Winston Phillips and Josh of Freestyle Media. Both of those guys are just amazing at what they can do on the camera. And so we had a wonderful experience just sharing with people throughout Baltimore and beyond about our love for bringing awareness to topics as serious as homelessness. To put icing on that cake, I have a new talk show called NDTV Live that had the opportunity to start airing on Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Roku, and Android. And so we made our debut about 3 weeks ago, and I was able to incorporate the Upstarters live acoustic performance in that body of work. So it was very, very exciting for us to really take our message far and wide. And so this performance was very, very special to us. So we hope that you enjoyed as well too, and really get into what we're trying to talk about in our music, especially since there's not a lot of horns and the drums aren't too loud, but it's just us. It's just the Kendra and I singing, and of course the rest of the band playing. So here you go, our live acoustic performance.
'Cause we're living in a world that's become so divided. It's like everyone is just so consumed with themselves. It's like no one cares anymore about anybody else. It's what we call living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble, living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble, living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble, living in a bubble. We're all just living, we're living in a bubble. Everybody's in their world. Just do-do-do-do, just do-do-do-do. Only caring about themselves. All about themselves, all about themselves. And we don't see we becoming all about me. F-U society. 'Cause we're living in a bubble.
I remember we were getting prepared for our Ram's Head show, and we were going, what can we do to kind of stand out from the other bands? And we were first came out with Bubble, and I was like, well, this is even before COVID. And I said, we really need to get the audience involved and participating with us, because I feel like that's how people feel like they're part of you and you're part of them. And so already in the song, Kanika had a part where we stopped the music and we just had everybody sing that we're living, like we are living in a bubble, living in a bubble. And I was like, let's go get some bubbles, and people can blow them, people can pop them, and maybe they can really understand our song and understand that we're just all separate and we're living in these bubbles, but at the same time we're all one. So that was kind of like my favorite thing that we did at our second Ram's Head show with Big Real Fish.
Close. Real Big Fish.
Shit.
We decided to perform Bubble for the very first time, and of all nights my voice was like I mean, my voice was giving me the blues. And we had this whole theatrical presentation put together. So we decided to have bubble machines on the stage. And if you've ever seen Ramsey, it's a very large venue. So when we get there to start setting up, we're like, oh my gosh, like, the distance between each machine is very very wide. And how are we going to time this out? And so Kendra said, I'm going to cut on the bubbles on stage left. And I'm like, I'm going to cut on bubbles on stage right. And we also had purchased little mini bubbles, and we had one of our team members to actually pass out the bubbles to the audience right before we perform that song, so that we can get them to be a part of the experience. And the experience for us was that we wanted them to blow bubbles. We wanted them to not only just blow bubbles, but to see the imagery of bubbles, so that when we start talking about we're all living in a bubble, that they can get that visual. And then we wanted them to blow bubbles, but we were going to actually, time it, orchestrate it, tell them what to do. So a lot was riding on our ability to do Simon Says very well. And as you may know, when you're performing, the last thing an artist wants to think about is like, okay, I got to click this, click that, do this, because you really have to be not only cognizant of those different directions, but obviously the experience that people are getting by way of the performance. And so we started the song. The horn players were supposed to actually turn on the bubbles, and they forgot to turn them on. So I'll never forget me trying to sing that first verse, and I'm crossing over like the microphone stands and everything else, praying to God that I was not going to fall, because I had these tall heels on so I can get that bubble machine on. But what was so like interesting about Bubble is that I don't know, the lighting in Ramsey was just so right. It was so nice. And when people got those bubbles, they were just like little kids. I mean, to see the joy and the amusement and the wonder and in their face. And so when we started to tell them, hey, take out those bubbles and start blowing them. And then when we asked them to actually sing the chorus of the song with us, people were already hooked at that point. And it was just an amazing experience to be in a venue as large as Ram's Head, in front of all of those people, men and women, and to see them completely into it. Because, we're in a society now where everybody has their cell phone in their hand, and you can't keep their attention for longer than how many seconds. But for that 4-minute song, they were ours. They were trapped in the Upstarters bubble. And they really took away, I think, the meaning of that song is that we are bigger than the bubbles that we put ourselves in. And if we step out of those bubbles and just learn how to love each other and appreciate each other, what an amazing world this would be. So enough of me talking. Take a look at the Ram's Head clip, and hopefully you will fall in love with it like you were actually there in the audience with us that night.
I loved it. The bubbles was a great marketing. Yes. I like it. That was fun.
You feel me, y'all? So if you got your bubbles, I need you to blow them high in the sky. You know why? Because tonight we're stepping out of these things that divide us. Because we are bigger when we are together, right? Loving one another, because you know what? Living in a bubble, living in a bubble. We're all just living in a bubble. This song is easy. She's singing the words. It goes like this. We're all just living in a bubble, living in a bubble. We're all just. Are you ready? It's your turn. Come on. We're all just living in a bubble. My ladies, I need to hear my ladies. We're all just living in a bubble. Come on, Whitney. Living in a bubble. We're
the last thing I'll say actually that I loved most about this song is our ability to create a space for crowd participation. So we had a performance at Rams Head. It feels like eons ago, but anywho, I had asked the audience to learn the words that Kendra was singing, and we asked them to sing along with us. And it was such a beautiful chorus of voices, men and women who really got into the message that we were trying to bring that evening. And so to be able to capture that live recording and include it in on this track, I think also speaks volumes to the power of the lyrics and just the overall song. And so I hope that you, get in touch with it. Again, read the lyrics, but sing along with it, and definitely share with a friend, because it's never too late for us to get out of our bubbles.